All right, guys, we're out here and we're going to run the Creighton 4S and the Skeeter 4S at the same time. I mean, I'm going to control both of them, run one of them back and forth, just switching controllers. Going to see how we can kind of put a video together. I'm running it in the backyard today, in our backfield area, just because, you know, the park that I normally like to run has been so crowded, and these trucks are a little smaller, and this is kind of the way that they're going to get bashed the most is in people's yards, in their backyards, in their friends' backyards. And so we're going to do it back here. We got the T-Bone Racing 4.0 ramp set up. We got a little hokey piece of wood, which is a common ramp for a lot of people. It's just sitting on a log, fully adjustable. And we're just going to run them, do some flips, and just kind of get an overall feel about how each truck is different. Now, I have already ran both of these quite a bit. I probably have 10 runs on the Creighton already. One skate park bash. It was pretty fun at the skate park. I took it easy. It wasn't too crazy. You can check out that video. It was a lot of fun at the skate park. Very controllable. Skeeter hasn't been to the skate park, but it has been over many jumps, many speed runs. And before we get this going, let's just do a brief under the hood look at what these trucks look like. Just so we know, Creighton is completely stock. Nothing has been changed. Has the original DeBoots tires, everything. So far, very impressed with this truck. Handles awesome. I think the steering servo is a little weak. Skeeter has some upgrades, has different tires than came on with it, and they're almost the same size now. It also is wider. I widened the hubs and the axles, gives it I don't know, like 3/4 to an inch wider. Handles much better. The Skeeter is significantly heavier truck and feels heavier when you drive it. You can see both trucks come with tethers on the body clips, pretty common. Both trucks come with wheelie bars in the backs. The Creighton is quite a bit longer. I'll set them side by side. You can see the difference there. The Creighton is longer, which helps with stability, but the Skeeter is still a lot of fun, especially with the bigger tires on it. These are Proline trenchers. They're the low profile 3.8s. They actually work awesome on this truck. So let's pop some body clips. Just give you a brief look. Not everybody knows what all these look like underneath, so I'm just gonna do it real quick. Give you an idea how they're set up different. I'll tell you, these rear body clips, even though I drilled the holes out, they still get wedged in there. Okay, so let's go over the Skeeter first. So the Skeeter runs all aluminum shocks, threaded shock bodies, aluminum caps with cap protectors on them. They run aluminum shock towers, super beefy body posts, double center chassis brace that meets in the middle, metal spur gear, full aluminum diff you can see down inside there, spring steel diff cups on front, rear, and center. It does run dog bones in the rear, CVAs in the front, all metal. It is a pivot ball suspension style. You can see it runs on pivot balls. The Creighton runs a knuckle system in the front. This thing has an awesome servo in it. This one runs a high voltage. It's the 7225, but you can run it on high voltage, and the BEC on the stock speed controller, you can crank it up to 7.4, so you can get really good torque and steering on the Skeeter. That is a feature that not a lot of trucks handle, so that's a bonus, and nothing that a lot of people talk about. The only back to this is the truck is pretty heavy because of all the extra aluminum and stuff, and so had to run a fan. You can see I'm just running the single fan, which works great, and then I put the other fan on top of the speed control. The speed control would get hot So I just put a high-powered fan on top of the speed control and keeps it nice and cool. The Skeeter also runs full aluminum chassis. It's been a pretty good truck, pretty strong. The only weak point that I have had with it is I keep breaking the plastic steering links. So then we got the Creighton here, a lot wider and longer. Fairly beefy body post, but they're really flexible. I've landed this thing upside down quite a few times, nothing's broke there. Got the ESC, which is, I believe, 120 amp. I believe the Skeeter is 130. This one does come with the fan and a heat sink on the motor. That's awesome. So that's a feature that the Skeeter didn't have. You can see they come with the new upgraded shocks, but they have plastic spacers for the shocks to adjust the springs. I kind of like the setup, and it comes with a wing where the Skeeter does not. This has a full chassis brace, and this one runs, instead of running a center diff, this runs a slipper clutch with the plastic spur gear. But so far, things been holding up pretty good. I've been trying to give it to it. I hate doing that to a new car, but I know some people's had problems with this here and there. Some people's had problems with this. So we're just gonna give them a run as a brief overview. Skeeter speed controller is basically a max 10 SCT speed control, and it will handle high voltage. We've ran it a few times with this high voltage battery and at 4S, and it's worked out really good. I tried to plug it into this one. This Spectrum one will not handle a high voltage lipo. Well, just look at the steering here. You can see how much this thing struggles to turn. We got the Skeeter, a lot faster, sitting there. Nice little backflip. It's so controllable. I do really like the way this truck feels. Handles really nice. We could get the steering dialed in. It works real good when you slam on the brakes when you're going into a corner. With that slipper clutch, it gets the rear end to whip around. This thing flips so good. I like it. See, it does pretty good in an area this size. I mean, it's still, at top speed, it's 53 miles. Oh. Try that again. Homemade jumps getting chewed up. Launch is so nice, but it has a few drawbacks. I think the best, maybe something that nobody's talking about, is the advantage to this thing is how light it is. I mean, compared to a 6S truck or even some of the others, this thing is so light on its feet. Just easy to correct. I think it doesn't come down very as hard as some of the others. Oh. I'm gonna switch over to the Skeeter. This thing's a lot more wild. There's a little shorter wheelbase. Harder to control in the air because of the wheelbase, but it does jump pretty good. Whoa, big jump. Oh, oh. Chassis slap. but because of the weight of this vehicle, it doesn't dampen as good. You can see it's a little bit more wild on the handling, but overall the Skeeter is a good truck. See, the Skeeter bounces around a little bit more. Good way to take out both your trucks. See if I can hit this ramp finally. I moved it, so I'm kind of out of practice lining it up. So hopefully you guys can see, you know, the differences between the two. More easier to control. In the air with inputs. Skeeter's a little bit more dramatic. Woo! And this thing gets monster air. Both of them do. You see how when you slam on the skids when you're starting to turn, how this thing will pitch the wheels in. It's a good way to get it to rotate. See? Oh, missed the ramp. Almost totally nosedive that. Oh. Well, that was a big cartwheel. Alright, we'll move to a little bit of a different position. I think the servo is crapping out. It is not wanting to turn at all unless I can get the rear end to slide around. Big old chassis slapper. I will say, switching back and forth like this is challenging because they drive so different. I mean, what the holy crap was that? Unintentional front flip. They drive so different. This one is really short and stubby. Feels like it weighs a ton. It's definitely, you can feel it's into the grass a lot more. Not as light and delicate. Still, I mean, then when you finally get, whoa. The rear end chassis slap is nasty sounding. You can definitely tell the difference that's between these two is having a center diff in the Skeeter makes it handle. I kind of like the feel of the Creighton without the center diff. Like that front doesn't seem to want to grab on that plywood very good. Ooh, almost goofed that one up. Wasn't sure what I was committing to there. The Skeeter's handling problem might be maybe I need to adjust that toe. The last time I replaced the link, I must not have got it right. Oh yeah, so much smoother on the landing. So I think all in all, I like the Creighton's handling. I mean, this thing is planted, it's a little wider, has more travel. You can just see the way the suspension's just keeping it planted, doesn't want to pop the rear end up. And it's fast. I mean, they got a good setup on this thing right out of the box. As far as the way the speed controller feels. I mean, it feels probably the best feeling ready to run I've played with in a while. Don't know what that was. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. Hope that kind of gives you a brief comparison. Running them in a small space where they should, where they should be. Oh, not everybody has a skate park or some ginormous ramps, but everybody has a backyard. Well, let me rephrase that. Everybody has a place that they can kind of take it out and run it. Construction site or whatever, makeshift jumps and ramps. Kind of what I was trying to show here is how they handle in a normal condition. I would say all in all, both of them, I'm not saying one's better than the other. The Creighton is the newest, so maybe it might be my favorite right now, but the Skeeter is a ton of fun. Just a totally different driving experience, I think. This thing is just a beast. So glad I picked one up. And it just soaks up everything. Jumps so good. backflips without even trying, but yet so controllable. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you for watching. Hope this gives you a brief idea what these two trucks are like. I really like both of them. Probably leaning more towards the Creighton right now because it's new and it will handle the rough terrain at a little faster. Skeeter short wheelbase, a little more squirrely, but you can do a few more tricks with it, and it is a little bit more of a wild animal. But all in all, I like both of these trucks. I'd recommend either one of these to anybody. My impressions of them is they're both strong. They're both, I mean, people talk about parts for the Corrali stuff. Parts aren't hard to get. You might not get them at your local hobby shop, but they're easy to order in. Lots of places got them. And they shares a lot of parts with its 6S brothers. And so I don't think you're gonna have any problems with the Skeeter. So please like, subscribe, and share. Let me know which one of these trucks you prefer. Thanks, guys.